Hi, I'm Dottie Sanciola, and welcome to Let's Talk. And today we'd like to extend a very special welcome to cable company GLW Broadband. Coming up today on Bill Berger's Summer of 2020, an interview with Wellington Schools' new band director, Hayley Sleggs. Football, boys and girls soccer, volleyball, cross country, and golf. All fall sports in our Wellington schools began training on August 1st. Be sure to join us next week when Bill Berger sits down with Athletic Director John Bowman to talk about how the training's going and the specific guidelines under COVID-19. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Film Crew Productions, for the links that are offered throughout our show. Here's an update on what's happening in our schools. An August 8th email was sent to parents by School Superintendent Edward Weber. Here are the highlights. On July 21st, the Board of Education approved the Wellington Schools Restart Plan. The full plan can be viewed on the district website, linked below. Given the current health rating, the schools will be opening in a hybrid model. McCormick Middle School and Wellington High School will split students by last name into two cohorts. Westwood Elementary will split students into AM and PM cohorts. Parent input on their choice of morning or afternoon is included with the registration form that is in the email and also linked below. They ask that parents try to complete the registration by Saturday, August 15th. The Boys and Girls Club will allow for club members to attend the club from 11 o'clock a.m. until 3 and or from 3 until 6 p.m. The 100% online model will be in partnership with Edmonton. Wellington teachers as well as Edmonton instructors will support students. Parent Restart Workshop will be hosted virtually at each school during the last week of August and the first week of September. Each school will host 2 of the workshops. There will also be a parent orientation with Ed Options. These workshop times will be published shortly. A family resource guide will be mailed out to the homes in the next 2 weeks and will include a transportation and food service bulletin. Up next, Bill Berger's interview with the new Wellington band director, Mrs. Hayley Sleggs. Mrs. Sleggs attended Baldwin Wallace University at the Conservatory of Music, where she studied music education. She's a 2017 graduate. She taught for a year at the Massillon City Schools as a middle school band director and worked with the marching band as well. This will be Hayley's 3rd year at Wellington Schools. Prior to her new position, she taught 4th, 5th, and 6th grade general music, and also she was the 7th and 8th grade choir director and has been an assistant band director with the marching band.
From the front porch of the Berger residence, Film Crew Productions presents the summer of 2020. Here are the headlines as of today, Wednesday, August 5th. Over 4.7 million cases are here in the United States. Some states have actually plateaued, but as many as 18 states have seen a spike. More than 157,000 people have actually died in the United States. The economy actually contracted at a record of 32.9% annual rate for the last quarter, which is a record. Hasn't happened since the Great Depression. In Ohio, we have had more than 96,000 cases, and of that, 3,600 plus have actually died. And as of Tuesday, yesterday, in the 24-hour period, we had 1,143 new cases here in Ohio. Those 30,000 and more people who have become unemployed have not been able to receive their $600 or more every week. This is the summer of 2020, and it begins now. We are very fortunate this evening to have a young lady by the name that you may not even recognize, Mrs. Hayley Sleggs. Now, you may know her as Hayley Ward. And when I say Hayley Ward, then you'll say, oh yes, she's the new band director here at Wellington High School. So Hayley, welcome. And I understand that you got married, was it 3 weeks ago? Congratulations.
Yes, thank you very much.
Would you like to tell about your husband and what he does?
Sure. Don't hold this against me, but he is the Black River High School and Middle School band director.
Which obviously is one of our 2 huge rivals. That will be very interesting within the Sleggs household, I would think.
Yes.
I'd like to have your experience, what the experience was like working with Mrs. Novotny and Rick Snodgrass.
I have had a great time working with Mrs. Novotny and Mr. Snodgrass. Mrs. Novotny definitely has a long-standing reputation in the community for great, musical products that have come through the Wellington middle school and high school in the band. She was really helpful to me in the last 2 years, and especially in the last year as, she was planning in getting ready to retire, and it was looking like I was going to become the band director. So she was showing me the ropes and basically showing me how things work. I got a really good idea for just, exactly how things work, and with the students, with the marching band program, with our booster organization. So she was really helpful, kind of preparing me and setting me up to have a really great start with the program. And then Mr. Snodgrass is still working with the marching band and the high school students. I'm really grateful to have his expertise. He is able to offer things that I might not be able to. So working with him has been really fun, and it gives the kids a really great experience.
We know that the marching band is a vital part of the athletic experience for the students, for the parents, for the football players. But obviously, Mrs. Novotny has been doing it for many years along with Mr. Snodgrass. And you obviously want to put your own spin on that. Is there any way that you can do that, or give us an idea of what your own spin would be like?
At least this year, some things are definitely going to be staying the same. There are certain things that are Wellington tradition, and I want to honor those traditions. So like the pregame, for example, people look at the Wellington band on the field and they recognize how, like, the way that the students march, the different songs that we play, the fight song, the alma mater. So those are definitely going to stay the same.
Sure.
In terms of like the halftime show, things are pretty much, that changes year to year. And as marching bands change and update year to year, you're going to be seeing some different changes here and there, just maybe with the style of marching, with some of the intricate movements that the students do on the field. It's just going to be different from year to year.
We know that the marching band especially is a point of pride here in the Wellington community. Talk about how the marching band is just such a huge part of not only athletics, but the community itself.
So, the marching band, instantly everyone always thinks about Friday night football games, and that atmosphere, getting everyone excited for the game, and the band is definitely a huge part of that, just in the overall experience. I'm really excited to, be in this next chapter of the marching band and the band program as a whole. And I'm really just excited, maybe not necessarily this year, but in the future,
Sure.
Making the band, maybe doing more community events so that the marching band can serve as, different entertainment options, or I'm just different service things to keep the band as a vital part of our community.
Sure, exactly. Well, we already know that the OMEA has already canceled all of the marching band competition. How does that actually affect the guys and girls that are in the marching band this year?
OMEA marching band competitions has always been a favorite part for our marching band students. To be able to perform and get critiqued by judges, and to get to perform for a pretty big audience, and get better throughout the season. And they won't have that opportunity this year, but hopefully the core of what they've gotten out of those experiences, great just performing basically for the individual students and for the marching band as a group, hopefully the same level of performance is still able to happen this year. Maybe it might not be for judging and for a rating, but hopefully we'll be able to achieve that same level of performance and precision whenever we get to perform this season.
Well, we certainly hope, obviously it's not going to take place this year, but we certainly hope in the future that it will start up again. And,
Right. And we we plan to, resume next year, hopefully, assuming that everything is back to normal.
We really don't know what's going to happen, not only this fall with fall athletics, but really for the whole school year. I do know, because you informed me, that there's certain guidelines that have come down for the marching band. If you could talk about those guidelines, where they came from, and what's going to be involved with the marching band this year.
Sure. So there was a guide to restarting marching band that came out earlier in the summer from the National Federation of High Schools. And that's been the guiding document that has informed all the different restrictions and guidelines that marching bands across the country really are following. And then we're following local ones that are set forth by the health department. But basically, the whole marching band practicing is recommended to happen outside. Students are recommended to be 6 feet apart. We have to do temperature checks and symptom checks anytime that the students come to practice. But luckily, we're still able to do what we normally do in terms of playing our instruments outside, learning the different formations on the field. So it hasn't really changed all that much, just some of the day-to-day procedural things.
Know that halftime has changed. It's not going to be nearly as long. We have masks for the instruments to keep the water vapor away. There's social distancing involved, and it's actually more than 6 feet, I understand. If you could talk about that along with band camp.
Sure. So you had mentioned the instrument masks. The term is actually, it's like a bell cover. It goes over the bell of the instrument. There was another national study that was done with lots of state music organizations that were contributing to it to see how these aerosols that come out of the musical instruments spread and what happens to them once they leave the instrument. And the recommendation was basically to put masks, essentially, or these bell covers over the instruments. So we started band camp on Monday. As of today, we had 2 more students join us, so we're up to 26 now. So all of our, rehearsals are happening outside, and we're still able to do most of what we do. Just we have to be a little bit more cautious about the, physical distancing and making sure that everything is staying very sanitary for the students and for the directors as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, you brought up the fact that we now have 26 members. That's good. What is the band made up of this year? What grades? And I understand we have some athletes that will be in the band too.
Yes. So the band, we're up to 26 members. We have students from 8th grade all the way up to 12th grade. And we do have 2 fall athletes. I know we also have some winter and spring athletes as well, but our fall athletes are senior Cameron Berger, who's on the football team, and then Dustin Andolzik, who's a sophomore soccer player.
The fact that you, as one of your goals, I understand, is to try to make the band, and not just the marching band, but all of the bands, more accessible to the students there at Wellington High School and the 8th grade over at the middle school.
So many numerous activities between, the arts organizations like band, choir, and drama. There's sports, there's different, academic challenge. There's just so much to be involved in. One of my goals is to try and make it so that students are able, to do band and other things and that they don't have to choose. So that might, require some flexibility on my part and the, directors or advisors of whatever other organization the students are going to be a part of. And my hope is that we can, have that flexibility so that, students don't have to choose and they can be a part of band. And, I would love to see students participating in band and every sport Wellington has to offer. Like, that would be a dream.
If you stay as long as Mrs. Novotny, you've got a lot of years to make up for everything, yes. All of your goals and how you put a spin on everything so you can make everything, as far as the Wellington band is concerned, your own, for lack of a better word. We'd like to thank Mrs. Hayley Sleggs, the new band director at Wellington High School, for giving us an idea of what the past has been like, and then looking to the future. And of course, as we all know, right now, everything is so much up in the air. I had a lengthy meeting with the AD, John Bowman, last night, and as we found out, there are so many things that are not known right now and probably will not be known until just before the athletic season starts. So we do wish you all kinds of luck, Hayley, and we wish you all kinds of luck with the marching band and all the bands there at Wellington High School. I also like to thank Mrs. Dottie Cianciola very much for being my field reporter, and Mr. Dave Conklin for being the technical advisor. Those two, without which this program would not be able to exist. We will be back. This is a film crew production, the summer of 2020.